Welcome. Watch the game sports, good people. Welcome and thanks for joining. Feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube and get ready for the upcoming football season. I think that's when we'll be fired up and ready to go. But tonight, welcome my man Benjamin Banneker,
Yo,
and
yo,
we're gonna
yo.
talk about games one and two in the NBA Finals. You made a point, I made a point, and I think both are holding true. And got some other topics related, sports related at the end that we want to get into. We might not be too long tonight, but Penn, what's up, man? Game one and two, the NBA Finals is in the books.
Yeah, man, it's been different stars, I guess, or different players that came to the forefront that put a major imprint and impacted the game for the Celtics. But I haven't seen anything that made me jump off my pick or anything like that. Celtics won 2 games at home. That's what they're supposed to do. That's and we at status quo right now. So I mean, no reason to panic right now.
Yeah, I believe I made a point that the Celtics had more playmakers on their team, and with Dallas having put more pressure on Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving to make plays and initiate offense for the other guys on the team, as well as score points themselves. And I think that's pretty much what this is coming down to. Luka Doncic put together two pretty good games as far as scoring is concerned. I believe he had 30 points in game one, 32 points in game two. Uh, but the Celtics are finding a way to keep the ball out of Kyrie's hands from time to time. And I think that's the difference in this series. And Kyrie hasn't had a great series up to this point. I think he had like 12 points in game two. Uh, I think no 12 points in game
In
one. I
game
think he
one,
had
yeah,
16. I think he had 16 points in game two. But
yeah,
what they're doing is Luca likes he. I think he wants to play that slow down style of basketball, and I think whenever Kyrie gets a chance to push the pace, he will. But he hasn't had that opportunity much. There's always Boston's doing a pretty good job of getting back on defense and making them work in the half court and contesting shots and passes as far as the Dallas Mavericks are concerned.
yeah, and I'm noticing too when Kyrie got the ball, he's having to face Derek White, who's a pretty good defender. We already know Drew Holiday's defensive reputation precedes himself, so he's one of the best defensive guards in the league. Then, if he don't have matched up with those two guys, Jalen Brown, who's been just amazing on the defensive end, blocking shots, picking people's pockets so far in the finals, and Tatum is no slouch either. So most times when Kyrie's coming down the court, he's looking at four obstacles in his way that he has to give. He can't even call a pick and roll to get the switch because he'll switch and get somebody else, and it's just
Hmm.
like it's a lot of work for him right now. And I've noticed two things I noticed about Kyrie in this final so far. One, I think he's thinking too much and not pressing the issue and being aggressive and just saying, "I'm Kyrie, y'all got to deal with me," instead of trying to dissect what the defense is doing. That's one thing. And two, I noticed it doesn't look like he's quite sure on his handle. It looked like he's trying to make sure I take care of the ball instead of playing like Kyrie normally plays, being free, innovative, that ball on the string, I'm gonna get to where I want to go. It's more so let me protect the ball because if it's not Derek White, then it's Drew Holiday. If it's not Drew, it's Jalen. So I think when we get back to Dallas, we'll see a different Kyrie, a more aggressive Kyrie. And to your point, if it's not Luca or Kyrie, what does Dallas have? And when Kyrie hasn't really done anything in those first two games in Boston, so Kyrie's got to be there. Luca's obviously had what he had 30. You said 30 in the first game, 32 in the second game. I actually thought he should have had more in the second game because he had damn near 23 at halftime, I believe. So I feel like Luka probably needs to go to 40, push the issue a little bit more. But again, no cause for panic. Celtics did what they're supposed to do, and we'll see what happens after they leave from American Airlines Center.
I think it's the other way around for me because this is a must-win game for Dallas. I think they had their
Oh, for sure.
opportunities. They had their opportunities in game two. I mean, they didn't lose by as many, but the difference in game one was Porzingis coming off the bench with 20 points.
In
And
21
game
minutes.
two, yeah, and game two was Drew Holiday getting off. We have yet to see Jason Tatum have a good game, a great game, I should say. And Jalen Brown is playing pretty well on both ends of the floor. But offensively, he hasn't really had a breakout game. He's held serve. The scoring for Boston has been so balanced, and then they've been getting more bench production
Mm-hmm.
with Sam Hauser and Peyton
Pritchard.
Pritchard coming
Yep.
off the bench, as well as Porzingis. Because in game two, Porzingis didn't have the offensive output, but he had the defensive effort, to change shots at the rim. I think it just comes down to Boston just having more playmakers, guys with the ability to make plays for other guys, and then they have the dual threats of I can make plays and I can make shots. Derek White, Drew Holiday, uh, Jason Tatum, and Jalen Brown. They can all make plays and they can all make shots,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the difference. And they're not too bad on the defensive end. Dallas definitely need for Kyrie to step up. I felt like in order for Dallas to win the championship, Kyrie would definitely have to be spectacular in this finals. Not so much so far, but not only that, they need one or two more people to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you brought up, and you thought that Tim Hardaway Jr. would get some tick in this finals, and it
They was
hasn't
calling for it
happened
yesterday
yet.
too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see if Jason Kidd is going to get into that bench and brings a few more guys off that bench. He's leaning towards the younger guys, but who on that bench from a guard perspective can give him some experience. Now Hardaway Jr. doesn't. I don't think he has experience in the finals, but I think he does have experience in the playoffs. And you wonder, is he on the way out or is he injured? Is he out the rotation or is he slightly injured? Because with his experience, you would think he would see more playing time.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the national media coverage today, but I was hearing over the weekend that Tim Hardaway Jr. is kind of in Jason Kidd's doghouse. I'm not specifically sure why he
Hmm.
is, but at
Yeah.
this point, man, we playing for the championship. We got to let bygones be bygones. If I think
Yeah.
he can help me, then we can settle
Yeah.
that in the off season. And Boston has done a great job of taking away the lobs from the
Yep.
Mavs. That
Hmm.
was a big part of their offense. So now you
Hmm.
basically neutralize Gafford and Lively.
Hmm.
So I mean, why not? I mean, you ain't got nothing to lose at this point. You're down 2-0, you're going home. I would definitely be surprised if Tim Hardaway Jr. don't get no burn in this game three because at this point you got to throw all your weapons out there and see what you got. Um, Obviously, Kyrie needs more. If Kyrie needs to average north of 25 and 4 wins for
Yeah.
for Dallas to win, if Kyrie don't, it's really on Kyrie to me because Luka been doing his job and Luka's banged up. Like I said, 32. Yeah.
Offensively, he has because defensively, I feel a little bit different. I've seen him. He had a play in game two, particularly where he switched on Jason Tatum. He called out the switch, so he picks up Jason Tatum at the top of the key on the left side, and then on the right side, and then he just let Jason Tatum go right by him, lay it up for two, and then he's hunching up in his shoulder like something else was supposed to happen. Well, you didn't stay in front of your man. You let him blow right by you. You let him go to the rim and make a layup. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of Luca, because he's not really consistent. He was pretty good against Minnesota on the defensive end. And I understand he may be a little banged up. He's maybe a little gimpy, but look, the same effort you got on the offensive end, you need to get the puppies going on the defensive end. And Kyrie definitely has to be better. They have to find 2 or 3 more guys to show up in this series. That might happen in Dallas. The role players do have it. Maybe the role players have a tendency to step up at home and can get some going. And I took a look at the way the games are set up in the finals, because years ago, but they went back to the format where games
Two
one
two
and
one one
two.
one.
Yes, and so I took a look at Game Five. Game Five will actually be back in Boston, so it's
Yeah,
really important for the Dallas to win at least. I think they need both of them, but they got to get at least one, because if they lose Game Three, this might be
it's
a
tough
short
sledding.
one. Yeah,
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 it's
because
gonna
they're
be
not
tough
making the
sledding.
adjustments, don't have the depth, and Jason Kidd might be struggling to find out, how to improve on the matchups. Lively seems to have the ability to kind of slow down Porzingis on the offensive end. And when I say slow down, I'm just saying contest shots.
Yeah.
But most of the time, Porzingis has been seeing smaller defenders, and I don't think he's seen as many minutes in game two as he did in game
Wait,
one.
I think he tweaked the injury or something. Remember, and he came out the game. I think that was maybe
Mm,
third quarter or something like that. So I was just
yeah.
scrolling to see if we got a injury report on him, but it looks like
Hmm.
he's going to be able to play and go for game three. So um,
Yeah.
that yeah, he's making a hell of a difference. I didn't think he was going to make that big of a difference other than his size, but when he comes in and gets 20 points in 21 minutes and not played in since the first round of the playoffs, that was a big boost. I mean, he basically won that game in the first quarter. Game one, he
Yeah,
won that.
first half, yep.
It
And
was
then he
over.
held serve on the defensive end in the second half, made some plays. But like you said, the bulk of his offense came in the first half. And I
Yeah,
think that's when Lively in the third quarter of game one, that's when Lively took on the assignment to kind of step in front of him with a little bit more length, and challenge him. But in game two, I think they went back with Derrick Jones Jr. But he wasn't effective. Like, people were saying that there was some people picking him to be the MVP after game one. I mean, come on, man, it's a 7 game series. He hadn't played in so long. There's a level of consistency you have to have here. And when you think about the MVP, you Luca's been the best offensive player in the series,
yeah,
but the other 4 guys from Boston have been more effective. When you talk about the guys in the first 4 guys that can make the plays, which is Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, and Jalen Brown, they're doing their job. That means Jason Tatum don't have to be the best player on the floor. They just
hmm
have to play well as a team, shoot well, play good defense. It just looks like Boston is a better team. Made me wonder if they would have met a team like Denver, if Denver would have had a better shot. You know what I'm saying? Or Minnesota. But I think when I think about Minnesota, they would probably been a little too young for the experience, because I mean Drew Holiday is is finding a way. I mean, game two it was scoring. Game one it was running offense and facilitating. Now game three is yet to be determined. Like I said, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown haven't had them tremendous offensive outputs yet, but that may be yet to come. I mean, the Boston Celtics just look like a better team. Jason Kidd has a job on his hand finding adjustments and matchups. There's matchup problems all over the place for Dallas.
yeah. They may want to consider throwing some more zone at the
Yeah,
Celtics because I mean the Celtics they will show you they'll fall in love with that three
yeah, and
ball.
they will settle. They will settle for some bad shots. We've seen
Hmm
it. like when they played Miami. That definitely last year they did act as if they couldn't settle, uh, couldn't defeat a zone, but yeah, they may settle for more threes. I mean, they the best 3-point shooting team in the league, but if you could just cut down the lane penetration, and I could live with you shooting threes if you're gonna make them all, but I can't give you many attempts at the rim right at the front of the rim.
and that's
That has to slow down.
and that's why game two was Dallas let that get away because I mean Celtics shot 39 threes. They was 10 out of 39. It was one point they didn't make one. I think Horford made one in the end of the first quarter, and I heard the stat that in every game they didn't play this season, they have made at least one 3-pointer in the first quarter, and they was
Hmm.
on the verge of not doing that for the first time all season. But they didn't shoot particularly well the first half. I mean, they shot 45% for the game. The Mavs shot 47.5%. Mavs missed a lot of free throws, 16 out of 24, where Boston was 19 out of 20. They lost the game by 7 points.
Hmm.
You missed 8 free throws.
Yeah. So, yep. And the bench production looks like it's the difference too in these two games. And basically, they lost game two at the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Game one, they never made up for the Porzingis output, and in game two, they kind of lost their game at the free throw line. Good thing you brought that up. Right now, let me send some shouts to my man Emmanuel Steele, one
Yo,
of my
yo, yo.
homeboys. He checking us out tonight. Buck the baller. Many of his suggestions, you know what I'm saying. He always giving us some suggestions for the show. I talked to him, behind the scenes. So Buck the baller, my man Raphael Swift, he the man that keep my head shaved, real nice and clean. So night, Cutter Pac Man, I've been conversating with Cutter about the coming up the new game, the EA Sports College
Uh,
Football 25 coming out. Waiting on that. I
yeah.
finally went out and got me a next gen Xbox X Series
We,
X.
we
So
we
I'm
congratulate you.
ready for that.
Yeah.
I got a good deal on that. To my
Yeah.
man Twin East, Jaquan Hightower. He's a twin, so I gotta send a shout out to both of them, Jaquan and Jaquari Hightower. Man, thanks for checking us out, giving us them recommendations for the show. I had a conversation with him about a week ago. He told me, he enjoyed checking us out. So hopefully you checking us out tonight, Twin East. That's Jaquan Hightower, East Chicago, Indiana. Former ball hog. I used to coach him too when he was an elementary basketball player. But so to finish off on the finals, I think, like I said, Dallas has to find the adjustments. They got to find two or three players to be effective in this series, be it on defense or on offense. Take your pick. I'm going to say I do expect for Kyrie to play better in Dallas, and I'm expecting a role player or two to play well at home in Dallas as well. But when is Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown going to have that game? Is the other Celtics going to continue to just be better? Those are the questions I have going into game three.
Yeah, man. I'm waiting on Kyrie to show up, because I got my jersey in the cart, so I'm waiting to purchase it. The Dallas. I'm glad I didn't get the one he had last year because he was number 2 last year. I like him better in the number 2 than the 11, but
Hmm. You know how I feel about them jerseys.
yeah, I know, I
Yeah,
know.
man. You know how I feel about them jerseys. So you still holding with your pick?
Yeah, Mavs is 6. I mean, it's very hard now. They got to win 4 in a row.
All right. So we gonna see, man. Uh, I still got the Celtics in 7, but it looked like it can end a lot earlier than that. But we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to my wine lady. She a Celtics fan, so I know she might be
And
feeling pretty good about what's going. I gotta ask her though one day. I gotta ask her because when the Bulls playing well, she be repping the Bulls, and somehow when the Celtics in the playoffs, she rep the Celtics. So I gotta ask her that one day.
it's
Which one are you down hard fan of? You know what I'm saying?
it's a lot of transplant. Celtics fans, and they've been that way for a long time. Going
Yeah,
back to KG and Ray Allen, they've been, because the Bulls ain't really been that good since what, 90? Well, the Derrick Rose era.
yeah.
Yeah,
2011, they had a good run.
yeah.
Speaking of the Celtics fans, I gotta shout out my man Lee Buck. That's Buck the Baller's dad, Lee Buck. He a real true blue Celtic fan.
Like Larry
All the way
Bird,
back to the all the
Harris.
way back to the Larry Bird and McHale days. So he enjoying it. He spend every opportunity he can on social media. He repping his Celtics. So and he like to rock this 44 jersey, a Celtics 44 jersey. I think he got his name on the back of it though. Now, if you're gonna buy a jersey, put your name on it because it will never become a throwback. It would always be your jersey, and it would always be your team. So if you go buy a jersey, put your name on the back, and it will never become a throwback. And that's my advice. That's my advice. Because they can change their names, they can change their numbers, and they can change teams. I said names, but they more than likely unless you met a world peace. But they can
Ocho
change
Cinco.
numbers, Ocho Cinco. They can change numbers, they can change teams, but it will always be your jersey if you put your name on the back and represent your team. That's what I suggest.
Remember, I
Okay,
was
that
this
represent your
close.
team.
I was this close at the beginning of last football season to buying the Justin Fields jersey. I was this close. I was in Dick's. I had
See,
it in my
and
hand, and I didn't get it.
see, see. So now you, Justin Fields has been traded, so that's a throwback now, and he has a
Yeah,
new jersey, and he has a new number.
he
Okay,
number two now, ain't it?
yeah, he's wearing number two in Pittsburgh. Speaking of Pittsburgh, yeah, we get to some football at the back end, but Mike Tomlin has been extended to 2027, so that might be a good thing for Justin Fields. But let's kind of get back into basketball before we finish up with the football. So, getting back to basketball, um, the Los Angeles Lakers, Dan Hurley, were in negotiations for Dan Hurley, the head basketball coach of the Yukon Huskies, two-time national champion. And Dan Hurley turned the Lakers down. I think the deal was worth for 6 years, 70 million. But he decided to stay at UConn and try and chase a third championship.
I think that was the right decision. I think that was. I think he made the right choice when his name surfaced. I had to look at the story twice. Like, Dan Hurley, they just won the championship twice. Like, does he really want to go deal with the Lake Show drama
Yep.
and that whole situation? I mean, it's gonna be LeBron's twilight years. Then we expect Bronny to be coming in, and then he got the Genie Bus
Yep.
and the Rob Palinka. Like, does he really want to leave Storrs, Connecticut,
Yep.
where he's pretty much the end all be all for that basketball program to go across? I get going to Connecticut to California, LA. I get that part of it. I
Yeah,
totally get
definitely
that.
a good weather move.
Yeah, I get that part. But did he really just want to deal with all of the off the court nonsense that he was gonna have to deal with? And I always
Yeah.
just thought he was gonna turn it
But
down.
behind
And
the scenes as well. I mean,
yeah,
just all the things we might not even know about that's being accused of LeBron and some of the indecision in the organization with the Lakers. I mean, just a lot to put up with. I don't think his coaching style doesn't really match up to
NBA.
LA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's a certain um persona you have to have in LA, and I don't know if he fits that. I don't think he's want to deal with that type of spotlight. So I think he made a good decision myself. I think the job that fits him in the NBA might be when and if Greg Popovich leaves San Antonio. If he retires anytime soon, I can see that being a good spot for a guy like Dan Hurley, where the culture is not as flamboyant. You know what I'm saying? You can just go down there and put the work in. Still a good fan base. still, can somewhat expect to win, but he can go there and actually has a young core of talent and build around that talent, build through the draft like that organization usually does, and just build his culture up and just continue the tradition of good fundamental basketball with the San Antonio Spurs. I think that's one city that he might that he may go to and he can actually succeed in a place like San Antonio.
Well, college basketball got to win today. I'm glad he
Yeah,
stayed again, and
yeah.
now we're gonna have the narrative of can they three-peat? That's gonna
Hmm.
be on the table, and just for the hit that I think college basketball has taken ever since the um, Kevin Garnett and players like that, top upper echelon players going straight to the league, and then the whole one and done thing, it watered down the product of college basketball.
Hmm.
So I'm just looking forward to college basketball being more of a thing year
Yep.
round, or not year round,
Yeah.
just for the duration of that
Yeah.
season, not just the tournament.
And I'm hoping NIL could. I'm hoping the transfer thing can. I think I'm hoping they can get the transfer portal under control in college basketball and college sports in general. And I'm hoping NIL can keep the kids around that are not really, mentally prepared or physically developed to go play at the next level, be it college. I mean, be it NBA basketball or NFL football. I think football, as far as the eligibility standards, are pretty good because you got to be 3 years removed from your high school class. So that gives a young man enough time to mature on campus. But I'm hoping NIL could get some kids to stick around and build some camaraderie with some programs to the point where we can better follow the American athlete on our soil into their especially with the NBA because it's got so international. And we have a problem. This draft coming up now, and there's not a lot of American born basketball players that we even, like I said, other than
Recognize,
LeBron,
yeah, yeah.
Bronny, brother than Bronny James, we don't really know a ton of them. I mean, I don't, speaking for myself. So, but I do think the Lakers, since LeBron is still there, they should just go ahead and just go get JJ Redick. Just do what LeBron wants you to do. Actually, trade up and go get Bronny. Trade up and go get Bronny. And go and get JJ Redick. Just get just they say they want to have a coach before the NFL before the NBA draft. And just go ahead and get JJ Redick, kill all the noise, move up and go get Bronny. Just keep LeBron happy. Because my question is, where is this going to get you in 5 years?
That's what I'm saying. It's they're whatever they do right now is so dependent on what LeBron doing these last, let's just say 2 to 3 years of his career.
Hmm.
Like it's just not a attractive position in the NBA. I know it's the Lakers and all the championships and Magic and Kareem and Shaq and Kobe and the list goes on and on. The great Elgin Baylor, James Worthy,
Hmm.
Jerry West.
Jerry
Like it,
West.
it goes on and on and on. But
Hmm.
just the whole LeBron cloud just murks that whole situation up, and you really can't come in and one, put your imprint on the team. That's number one. And two, are you really playing for championships? Three, you're gonna end up being the scapegoat. So
Yep.
I know $70 million is a lot of money to be the scapegoat, and not a lot of people would take that. But I don't even think JJ Redick wants the job, because I think that's how Dan Hurley even got into the situation, because we've been hearing
Mm.
JJ Redick for at
Yeah.
least 2 weeks,
Yeah,
and
and they did recently have a podcast where they had some conversations. I saw a little bit of it. I didn't get too much into it, but you might be right. That may be how Dan Hurley got dragged into this discussion. But
exactly.
great for Dan Hurley's resume to even be considered for the Lakers. But I just he made the right decision. I think the Lakers need to go ahead and go Hollywood, do whatever LeBron wants to do. As long as LeBron's there, just let him do what he's been doing. Just do what he wants to do, and let's just see where you end up in 5 years. I mean, as long as you continue to sell the tickets, just 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 do what works. Because I don't think the Lakers are focused on winning championships right now. So just Just keep LeBron happy, and let's just see what happens. It might win your championship. Who knows?
It's just a lot to that LeBron JJ Redick.
Yeah,
Like if JJ comes coach, then what happens to their podcast that they just started? like
hey,
it's just a lot there, and I
yeah,
just think either JJ told LeBron like, "Nah, I'm good on it," or LeBron told JJ, "Listen, I'm only playing here for one more year, so don't even."
yeah.
It's been some off behind the scenes conversation taking place.
They said that LeBron told the Lakers, "Go ahead and pick your coach. You don't have to base it around me." That's what I heard. That LeBron said that they don't have to base the coaching job around him. But I beg to differ. If he's going to be with the Lakers, just go ahead and get who he wants, and let's just see what happens in 5 years. That's all I'm saying. Let's just see where it goes in 5 years. Um, but you know, just Dan Hurley made the right decision. I
I
think we
agree.
both agree on that.
Yeah.
Now, sticking with basketball, uh, Team USA, the women's basketball team, that's going to be participating in the Olympics later
Mhm.
on this summer. Caitlin Clark was not included on that team. Do you consider that a snob or me myself? I think it's a process and the procedure that they go through to get on that team. She wasn't available to go through the process, so she doesn't get on the team. Now, keep in mind, Isaiah wasn't on Dream Team in
You took the
'92, so I'm
you took the
cool with
word.
it.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it.
you took the words right out of my mouth. Is she probably deserving to be on the team? Yes,
Yeah,
1,000%. But like you said, there's a process that needs to go through or whatever. She just got in the league, all this, and all that. It's been a lot of conversation around Caitlin Clark, and I just really think the governing body didn't want to deal with that media storm just going into the Olympics. I think they wanted this to be about women's basketball and we growing the game and look at this team we put on the floor versus Caitlin Clark takes over Paris. I think that's what it really came down to
yeah,
because she's deserving to be on the team. I don't care if
yeah.
she's a rookie or not. It's not
But there's
too many
others
women
that
better than her.
there's other women that you could probably say deserve to be on the team. The reasoning for putting her on the team would probably be for the popularity thing, but there is a process, and that's what they standing on. And also, Caitlin Clark is saying that she doesn't have a problem with it. It gives her time to rest, and she'll be ready in 4 years if the opportunity presents itself. And at that time, I think the Olympics will be back home in the states. I'm not sure where, but
20 well, but we
I
looking at
think it'll be in the
2028.
states. Yes, I think it'll be back home in the states.
2028 Olympics location. Let me get it for you. Guess where
Yeah.
it's at? La La Land.
Okay. Okay. Hollywood. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like I said, I don't have a problem with it right now. Because I think that team's going to be good enough to win regardless. They couldn't go wrong with Caitlin Clark. I really wouldn't be surprised if someone gets injured or
And she gets put
someone
on.
is unavailable or can't, keep the commitment and Caitlin Clark be added to the team. I am not ruling that out. There's a lot
Yeah.
of time between 9 August. I'm not ruling that out.
Do you
Okay,
do you
so
oh go ahead,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Now I was gonna say, do now it's been a same, not to the same degree, but it's been that chatter about Kyrie is not on the USA team as well. Can you see that happening on the men's side?
Well,
What's
Kyrie would have to have 4 straight games in a row, and he'd have to win the NBA championship, and he have to be the MVP of the NBA Finals in order for Kyrie to make that team.
okay.
That's just how I feel about it. I mean, up to this point, I mean, he was looking good coming into the finals. We even thought of, I even mentioned it, but looking at the first games 1 and game 2, he's got an uphill battle just to win the championship, just to win one game. So, in order for Kyrie to get that consideration, he has to win the NBA championship and be
The
the
reason.
Finals MVP.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That's just what I'm thinking. That's just how it would have to happen for Kyrie. Um, and to finish up tonight, uh, talking about football, we're gonna get back on some football. Who's actually playing games? The UFL championship is set up, and I believe it's the San
The Battlehawks.
Antonio.
Oh,
No, it's not the Battlehawks.
they lost.
San Antonio beat the Battlehawks with AJ McCarron, and Wade Phillips is the head coach of the San Antonio Brahmas. I think that's how they pronounce the
The
name.
Brahmas.
But they're
Yeah.
taking on the Birmingham Stallions. And I messed up the quarterback's name. I think it was, is it Angelo Martinez? Kid,
Adrian.
kid,
Adrian Martinez. You talking about from
Yeah,
Nebraska? Yeah.
Adrian Martinez, kid from Nebraska. He ended up getting benched in the championship game. I think that was I forget what division he's in the UFL, but they got upset. No, the Stallions, they didn't get upset. They beat Michigan. They
Panthers.
played
Yeah.
them for 2 weeks in a row. This game I had a chance to check out a little bit, and I think Adrian Martinez got pulled for another quarterback, but nonetheless, on Father's Day, I think at 5 p.m. Eastern on Fox is the UFL Championship, and it's going to be the San Antonio. I can't pronounce this name.
The
The
Brahmas.
the Brahmas against the Birmingham Stallions. So I'm going like I said again, I'm gonna try and watch that game.
Ain't no finals
I
game that
watched
day.
a little bit of the Michigan and the Birmingham game, so I'm going to do my best to try and watch that game because I think on that's Father's Day, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't
Correct.
think we have a finals game
We don't.
that
We
day
don't.
if the finals go that long. So Wade Phillips at 76 years old taking San Antonio to the UFL championship, and hey, it's been real tonight, man. Thanks for joining me. Let me send this last shout out to. I hate I waited to the end of the night, but my Raven Rose, she shared the show and want to send a shout out to her and the rest of the fam. Thanks for joining us. Getting ready for game 3 of the NBA Finals. And we on our way later on in the summer getting ready for NFL football. I'm so excited. Not just about the Bears, but just about NFL football. And that's what this was all about. Getting us to that point. Watch the game, subscribe on YouTube. We'll be back at you after game 3.
Mavs in 6. Kyrie MVP.